For years, I was stuck doing high rep calisthenics workouts. I could do endless push-ups, endless pull-ups, endless dips, but didn't actually look jacked. Then I switched my training to just doing low volume workouts. And I saw great results building a lot of muscle in the process of it. But now after 7 years of calisthenics training, I now finally combine low reps and high reps that got me gaining strength, size, and endurance all at the same time. So in this video, I'll show you how to combine low reps and high reps into your calisthenics routine so that you can build muscle, strength, and endurance at the same time as well. All right, so first off, let's talk about the high rep trap, right? A lot of people who just do the high rep workouts, which I used to do for years, by the way, they land in a trap very quickly. Now, of course, you can just ignore the trap and keep working out and keep saying to yourself, I'm just doing reps, I'm just doing pull-ups, push-ups, dips, whatever, but you're not even realizing that you're actually in a trap as of right now. So if your main goal is actually building muscle, then you probably are aware of this trap. You probably are aware that your body is not really progressing no more. And the reason why that is because your body is in a constant state of doing the same thing over and over again. When you're in a high rep calisthenics phase, or when you're obsessed with doing a lot of reps, the guys who do that often do not progressively overload after some time anymore. They just maintain what they've already been doing for years. And that was my problem as well. When I was 14 years old, all the way up to like 16, 17, 18, I just did high rep calisthenics, just 1,000 dip sessions, 1,000 push-up sessions, stuff like that. And I was doing very, very high reps per session, per set, everything. But I wasn't actually progressively overloading with that. So that's why there is the only way to build muscle with high reps, but also with low reps, is to progressively overload. We all know that you have to eventually make things a little bit harder to eventually gain more muscle. But the trap is that most people think that they should just add a couple of reps extra, and that's already progressive overloading. Well, technically, yes. If you're doing 5 reps extra after a 1,000 push-up session, and usually you never do that, yes, technically you progressive overloaded. You did 5 extra reps at the end of the day. But is it really a progressive overload system? Did you really make things extremely more difficult for your body to handle in order to get stronger for the next time? Did you shock your muscles? You probably didn't. If you've been doing sets of 50 dips, sets of 30 pull-ups, stuff like that, but you just add one more set to the whole thing, or one more rep to each set, that is too small of a difference for your body to notice, to be like, you know what, we need to really level things up here because this guy is progressively overloading. We got to get stronger. Your body is not even noticing those little changes. So in order to progressive overload and make gains with it, you have to make quite big changes, or you have to make it dramatically more difficult for yourself so that you can actually gain muscle with it. And this goes for low reps and high reps. But this is exactly the reason why I think you should combine the two and have both progressive overload at the same time so that you can actually build muscle, endurance, strength, and everything at the same time. And that's what I've been doing as of right now, actually. And by the way, everything that I just explained here, I broke down perfectly in my Jacked by Calisthenics blueprint, which is in the top link in the description, which is basically a full blueprint where you can literally go from skinny to jacked. And Jacked by Calisthenics 2.0 is coming out very, very soon. So if you join today, you already locked in your price early so that you are ready when it launches. So join right now, Jacked by Calisthenics, so that you can actually know how to go from skinny to jacked with low volume training, high volume training, and you can also personally ask me any question you want in the weekly live calls. So let's go into chapter number 2. The low rep limitation that we usually have in calisthenics is that there's gonna be a point where it's gonna be extremely hard to progressive overload towards the next level if you want to stick to low reps. Because let's say you have a very hard pull-up variation that you've been doing for a while now, and you can only do about 6 to 8 reps, but you want to level it up, then you're gonna have to make the pull-up variation even crazier to drop the reps down again after you have built it up to quite a good number, right? That's exactly the reason why most calisthenics athletes switch to adding more reps, because adding difficult variations to it is only gonna be more difficult again, and it's only gonna be kind of unreasonable to make the pull-up variation even harder after already doing very, very, very hard variations in the past. But that is exactly where this method comes in that I've been training with. So when it comes to the method that I've been training with, you have to understand that this is for the people who have been training for a while. So if you are a beginner, then picking one or the other is actually perfectly fine. You don't need to combine it. But after a little while, after you have mastered one thing, you gotta be able to master the other thing so that you can actually combine the two and build muscle quicker. Because the way that I do it right now is I still have my basis low volume training, but on top of that, I add in high volume calisthenics workouts just based off of my choice, based off of what I like to do that that day, and that way I add endurance sessions to my routine. And I do that because of this low rep limitation. Comes to the calisthenics low rep limitation, we have a lot of limitations when it comes to weight and variation, as I just said. When you're training, for example, like me, I do have a gym membership, but I train mostly at home, right? Let's say you only train at home or in your room or in your garden, wherever, and you don't have that much equipment. Sticking to a low volume routine can be very, very hard because you have to progressively make exercises more difficult over and over again. And after a little while, that's kind of going to stop, right? It's kind of going to stagnate. So then I advise you to increase the reps a bit so that you can work on that. And then the moment when you're able to go to a difficult variation, that is when you're actually going to do it. And then drop the reps again and focus on that harder variation that you have now officially progressed towards. But this brings us to chapter number 3, the low and high rep system that I now currently use, which is going to always keep you progressing because you have 2 things that you can worry about. Number 1, the low volume routine that you always should stick to. The low volume routine that is inside my Jack by Calisthenics blueprint. The low volume routine that all my one-on-one clients are doing. It's the routine that brings you results quickly. It's the reliable routine that you always have to keep in there. And in my opinion, that will always be low volume and high intensity. Low volume and high intensity is one of the most effective things that you can do in all of training. Calisthenics, doesn't matter which sport you do. Low volume, high intensity is really effective for building muscle. So if you have that routine already locked in and already done, and you basically now progressing with that each and every single week, and you're trying to train hard with it, and you're trying to stay consistent with it, good. But now step number 2 comes in, which is adding in additional workouts or extra workouts. I like to call it supplementary workouts that are now going to be focused on high reps, very basic movements, maybe even very short range of motion, just doing an endurance style calisthenics session. For example, I'll give you a couple of examples, right? So that you know what I'm talking about. I have my chest and back day. On my chest and back day, I prioritize my low volume workout. So my low volume workout, such as this video right here, where you could basically follow the whole video and you basically know what I do for chest and back. That's like a low volume chest and back routine. When I have finished that, in the evening, for example, what I could be doing is extra dips and extra push-ups or pull-ups just to finish off the day. So I might do 500 dips just to end off the day. Or I might do 500 dips and 500 push-ups. Or I might do 1,000 push-ups. Or I might do 1,000 dips. Now that might sound very extreme, but you have to work up towards those numbers. I am now able to do that because I have done it for years and I know how to recover from that. My body is actually used to very, very high volume because I'm a high volume type of guy. Even though I preach low volume, I always liked high volume better because I grew up with the high volume style. Even though switching from a low volume routine, I still think that the low volume routine is like the most best way to go about it to build muscle reliably without sacrificing your recovery a lot. But now we can combine both. And the thing that I just explained, that's exactly how I do it. So on the day of my chest and back workout, in the evening, or I swap the workout completely depending on how I'm feeling, I swap it out or I do it after a high rep workout that focuses on endurance and it doesn't focus on failure training. So you have a couple of variations of this, right? You could do EMOM workout sessions, which is basically every minute on a minute that you're going to be doing a set of dips, for example. And you do it for like 30 minutes. Let's say you do 30 minutes, 20 dips. That is, I think, how many reps? That's, I think, 600 dips done in 30 minutes. Then we have down workouts where you basically pick a number, for example, 30 dips, and you go down all the way to 0 or whatever number you like to go down to. Then we have ladder workouts where you go up all the way. And we have pyramid workouts where you go up and down. And then, of course, the last one, we have just straight sets, just normal sets. You pick a rep range and you're going to go all the way until you hit that rep. And then you're going to go and do another set of that for a certain amount of sets, basically. You can all implement those into your workout routine on the same day that you train chest and back. Same applies for your arm day. After you have done your low volume arm day, which doesn't require a lot of volume and it doesn't leave you destroyed at the end of the day. So before you go to bed or right after your low volume day, you could, for example, do some chin-ups and diamond push-ups for your biceps and triceps, acting as a high volume calisthenics workout after your low volume training. So basically what I'm getting at here is that your low volume should always just be the main thing that you're focusing on. But on the side, or as a supplement, you should add in some high rep workouts. And that's basically how I maintain my endurance. Now, there's a couple of things that are going to change for you because adding in high volume calisthenics workouts next to your low volume training style could actually improve your low volume training style even more, because when you improve your endurance, you'll be able to last longer in those low volume workout sessions. When you're doing a very difficult set of ring push-ups and you're doing like 6 to 8 to 12 reps, a very low volume style, bodybuilding style calisthenics workout. If you don't have a lot of endurance in you, or you don't have a lot of muscular endurance, you're not even going to be able to go to failure that good because you're already going to be out of breath. But for me, I'm able to just keep it pushing until truly my muscles fill instead of my breath. So when you do high volume calisthenics training on the side as a supplement style training and you feed it to your low volume routine, your low volume routine is going to improve from it, which is going to cause you to gain more muscle with it. That's exactly the reason why my low volume workouts have been better, because my endurance is getting up there again, which is going to make my low volume training easier, and I'm able to progress better because my endurance is up and I can actually keep my breathing under control throughout the whole session. And that's basically because of the high volume sessions that I've also been adding in. And I know it's hard to follow, but if you just want the full program, the full blueprint to go from skinny to jacked with the methods that I'm actually explaining here, just go to the top link in the description, Jacked by Calisthenics. Take a look at some of the results that people have been getting in there. It's actually remarkable. A lot of people are progressing every single week now if you actually put in the work. That's the difference. You gotta put in the work. The top link is in the description. Read it for yourself, see if it's something for you, and I'll see you inside. Now let's talk about chapter number 4, my weekly split using this system. So my weekly split, it differentiates from time to time. In my opinion, this is like the golden rule of mine, right? After a little while, after you're more advanced, I don't actually think it's bad to sometimes hop from thing that you're doing to experiment. I always say, if you're more on the beginner side and you're still trying to build muscle, you're still trying to gain strength, you're kind of new into this shit, or you're trying to get to a specific goal, then I think sticking to a certain plan for as long as you basically can is the best way to go about it, because that way you're going to be able to progress. But after you become very advanced and you're comfortable with everything and you'll be able to do everything, I don't even think it's actually bad to kind of train on the moment. So for example, right now, my main basic routine is always going to be the Arnold split, chest and back, arms, shoulders, and legs. That's my main routine that I've always been following, right? But on top of that, sometimes after my chest and back volume, low volume day is done, I'll be doing dips and pull-ups in the evening, or just dips and push-ups. But maybe I'll end up being a little bit sore the next day. So the next day, I'll just go ahead and only do triceps and shoulders instead of also adding biceps in there. And then on leg day, I'll add some biceps with my legs. And then at the evening, I'll do some extra push-ups. I basically kind of rotate depending on how I'm feeling. Listen, I was always the guy who was super strict of like, no, I can't change a single thing. I can't, hop from routine, whatever. And I still stand by that. I still think that you should stick to a routine and never really change, because that's going to get you the most results. But if you're at this stage where you've been doing it for so long, I don't necessarily think it's bad to train on the spot to kind of figure out what you genuinely want to do. And that's just what you're going to do, because you're advanced for a reason. For the advanced people watching my videos right now, you're advanced for a reason, right? You're advanced because your mind has led you to being advanced. That means that in that process, you were able to stick to a routine. You was able to progressively overload. You were able to wake up and do it every single day. That's why you're now advanced. So if you're now advanced, don't be worried about your mind as much, because your mind can now tell you sometimes, oh, you know what? I don't really want to do chest and back today. I want to do chest and biceps because my back is kind of sore. So let me just skip that. And then tomorrow on my shoulder and arms day, I'll add pull-ups before that. You can now just kind of figure out what you want to do after you become advanced. And then just the progressive overload within whatever you're doing and whatever you kind of train on the spot will start to matter a bit more. In the beginning stage, I do think that if you're a beginner or intermediate, I do think that sticking to a real routine where your body can get used to so that you can progressively overload with it and track progress is the best way to go about it. Every single member inside of my program, every single client that I've coached, they're all sticking to a routine that they're not changing. They're just doing the routine and that's it. Take a look at this member right here. I show him a lot of times. This guy is making progress every single week because he's literally not changing a single thing. It's that easy. If you actually do what I say, for example, in the program, and you don't switch a single thing and you just focus on getting stronger and getting better within it, then you're going to gain muscle with it, bro. That's the only reason why people build muscle in the first place, is because they do something and don't do anything else. So then my final advice is stop overthinking the reps and just train. Listen, bro, my main advice from this video that I want to give to you is that yes, you can build muscle with high volume calisthenics, high reps, and low volume, low reps, combining it into one routine, but you just have to do the work. What I don't want you to do is just switch from low rep phases to high rep phases to low rep phases to high rep phases. You don't need to do that. What I need you to do is actually just stick on a certain plan so that you can actually figure out what you want to do around that plan. And that is all that I'm doing right now. For example, today was my arm day, but I didn't do shoulders. So guess what? Tomorrow I have legs, but after that, I won't be doing chest and back. I will just be doing chest and and shoulders. That is how I mix it up nowadays. I do whatever the fuck I want, but that's only after you've become advanced. After you've become advanced and you know exactly what you're doing and you know how to swap it out and you know that you're training each and every muscle group 2 to 3 times a week with multiple sets a week, enough sets to recover still, and also enough intensity, then you don't even need to be worrying about a routine. But you need to worry about a routine. That's why I want you to click the top link in the description so that you can actually access my full blueprint. Follow the routine in there, just like all of the members that you see on this screen. Work out with it consistently and then add in the high rep training routines that I will soon release inside of this program to your main workout routine that you're already doing. And if you have any other questions about your training routine, just join us and then attend the weekly live calls. You can ask me anything, bro. A lot of the times people are literally just talking like straight to me and I'm just answering, bro, like friends. So go to the top link in the description. I'll answer every single one of your questions. And watch this video as well, because in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you the 5 principles that took me from skinny to jacked with calisthenics training.